What's up, guys? Cody here today. So, if you haven't been around this patch, um, you wouldn't know then that Kog'Maw is broken. And if you didn't know Kog'Maw was broken and you've been playing, then you aren't paying any attention whatsoever. So right now, Kog'Maw is just beyond. Kog'Maw is just broken right now when he gets his Rage Blade and Runaands and whatnot. And so, for those of you that don't know, the Riot changed. Riot changed his abilities so that the attack speed from his Q is now on his W, and that pretty much is what has made Kog'Maw broken. So Kog'Maw, when they redid him for this season, they made it so that his abilities were relatively the same. The difference was that they changed how the damage worked on a lot of them. But so Kog'Maw's attack speed increase was in his Q, and his W did the percent health damage, or something like that. His W did the percent health damage. So the reason why he wasn't played that much was because he needed his Q. He needed the attack speed from his Q and the damage from his W to be effective. So he sucked early game, but his late game was insane. But the meta turned out to be, not late game whatsoever. So what ended up happening was it didn't make a difference, Like, it didn't make a difference that he was so overpowered late game, because when he first came out, I played him and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is insanely overpowered. And the thing is though is that you can never hit late game on Kog'Maw because your laning phase just sucked, and you couldn't make it there. You just couldn't, just because you were so weak early. So Riot, trying to make it so that way he, was more viable for this meta, changed it so that his attack speed from his Q was now on his W. This was a big mistake from Riot, because what ended up happening was Kog'Maw now doesn't touch his Q until level 13. He literally doesn't touch it until level 13. He doesn't put a point into it until after his E and his Q is his E and his W is maxed out. And that is not good design. That is not a good design for a champion. There should never be a champion that does not level up an ability at all. It's one thing to have one thing to not level up until the end, just to have 1 point into it and to not be leveling it up, really. But it's another thing to literally not put a single point into it at all until you have to. That's not good for a champion. So, that's kind of where the issue is. You wouldn't think necessarily that moving the attack speed over to his W would make it so that you don't touch his Q whatsoever, but it turns out, yeah, it's a big issue. And it's mainly because of the fact that he's just, you just don't have to worry about anything else. I mean, everything that you need is now on your W. And you just shred through everybody, especially after you get Rage Blade, because you just attack forever. So Kog'Maw's probably gonna get nerfed back down as it is of right now. just because it's not. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they need to do something about it, and because I think they should honestly just revert it back to how it was before. Because it's unhealthy for a champion not to have to put a point in one of their abilities. That's not how champions are designed to be. So I don't know. Riot needs to fix their stuff, and a lot of times Riot doesn't take care of these type of things when they're on the PvE. Or did I say that wrong? The PvE, yeah. When it's on the PvE, a lot of times Riot doesn't fix the stuff that they do on there. Sometimes they do, but I mean, honestly, they just let this go through with the fact that he literally doesn't touch his Q at all. That's not something that should just get through. You know, so, and this game, as you can see right now, I'm doing terrible early game, just terrible. I'm 2-3-2 right now, which is not good, really. If I was the old Kog'maw, we'd be in such a bad situation right now. I'm not the old Kog'maw though, so I'm, you know, once I have my Runeans and my Rage Blade, so I'm, you know, sitting pretty happy. See, I literally, you just stand Kog'Maw. You have very little mechanics to go with when it comes to Kog'Maw. You just stand there and attack, and that's how he's been though. That's the thing, is that's how he was. It's just Kog'Maw was originally meant to be this late game super hyper carry, and because they changed his the attack speed to his W, he's now has a presence mid game, and it's, like I said, it's not healthy. But because I mean, literally, when I was playing him, you honestly forget he has Q. You honestly don't even remember that he has it until like you hit level 13. It's like, oh yeah, I can put a point into this, and even then you don't touch it still. You never use it because you just, the time that you're queuing is time that you're not auto attacking, so it's a waste of your time in the end. But yeah, I mean, he's just, there are ways to deal with Kog'Maw as he is, but you know, it's just, he's not in a good situation necessarily. I mean, you can deal with him like any other AD carry and just throw assassins on him, but that's, you know, it is hard to get him when, you know, the enemy team might have like a composition set around him, like two, like, you know, if they have two champions that just provide massive peel for Kog'Maw, then, you know. And literally, Kog'Maw just shreds through stuff. You know, you throw on your W and you just smack around everything. Before it was before this patch, it was Kog'Maw was viable at like the 40-minute mark, and he wrecked face at the 40-minute mark. But games didn't get to the 40-minute mark because most games went like at, you know, 25-30 minutes for the most part. So, you know, and so I see where Riot wanted to make it so that Kog'Maw was used, but honestly, they have to really make sure that what they're doing is right, because a lot of times this has happened in the past. A lot of times with their champions, where they just completely screw up on something like this. So I don't know what Riot's gonna do about it. I hope that they're gonna fix it, but I mean, look, this right here is ridiculous. I'm over the wall, so they can't touch me, and I am just shredding their health. So it's, and at this point they surrendered for the game, but because Kog'Maw is a champion that gets worse and worse over time for the for you if you have to go up against him. So you have to win. You pretty much have to win like before 25 minutes against him for right now, because once he gets Rage Blade and Rune Hands, you're pretty much done, because then he's only going to get Blade of the Rune King after that and start doing more damage. So yeah, that's the situation we're in now. He should be banned like every game for you, unless you're playing him. So yeah, that's how I feel about Kog'Maw right now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Thanks.